Ventures IFSC Private Limited, which is a subsidiary of Suzuki Motor Corporation, which has announced the launch of a 340 crore rupee fund that aims to act as a growth catalyst for the social impact startup ecosystem in the country. The fund is going to focus on these startups in the domain of agriculture, financial inclusion, rural supply chain, mobility, and so on. But for more on what this fund targets to do, I am now joined by Vipul Jindal, the MD and CEO of Next Bharat. Vipul, welcome to Startup Street. If you could briefly start by telling us about the approach that you're taking with this 340 crore rupees social impact fund for startups. What's the investment philosophy here? And you're looking at tier 2 and below cities. What's the thinking?
I think, Ritu, thanks a lot. So basically, the idea is, so first of all, this is the first Suzuki's fund in India. So we are super excited. The idea is to really focus on the next Bharat, right? And the next Bharat is nothing but the tier 2 and below. I mean, if you look at all the startups that are there out there, every day we listen about, they're focusing on the 0.4 or 0.3 billion people of India out of 1.4, right? What about the remaining 1 billion? So we are trying to back startups who are doing amazing stuff, who are not found on the streets of Bangalore and Mumbai, are found on the streets, on the villages, trying to create value for the farmers, increase their income, or trying to create value for the, people who are in the part of gig economy workers. So these are the startups we want to back. And we are being very patient with them. The approach is basically to really increase the return time expectation from a typical 8 to 10 years to 10 to 15 years. And the returns rate are also something which we are trying to be more patient about, that instead of telling them to be a a 10 billion, $100 billion company, we want them to be a self-sustainable, maybe a $100 million company. So this is the approach we're taking with this, Ritu.
Sure, not rush to become a unicorn, but you also have that residency program, a 4-month program for the startups that you identify. Give us a sense of what kind of support you're promising to provide and the resources that these startups are going to get during the residency and even afterwards.
Yeah, so I think, the core part of it is that entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey, right? Every founder would probably resonate with this. And for impact entrepreneurs, it's all the more lonelier because they're not, having peers in Bangalore to talk with. They are in their local villages trying to do something big. So it's very important for us that we want to give them a community of peer learning. Hence, the residency program was established. So the idea is something like a Y Combinator, but for impact entrepreneurs. How the world looks at Y Combinator for tech acceleration. They go to US. We want the world to come to India for this next Bharat residency for this, impact entrepreneurs. So that's the whole idea. During the residency, it's a 3 months of residency where we sort of not just mentor them, give them the capital they need, but more importantly, give them the network, the know-how, not just of the Suzuki Motor Corporation or Maruti Suzuki, but also beyond whatever industry they need, right? So network, mentorship, and capital is what we're giving them in the program.
Any startups you could tell us about already that you've identified and the kind of checks you're writing them?
No, so I think the first cohort of the first residency will happen in October. So I'll happy to share all the startups and after that. But I can give an example of the persona of a founder, which is, I'm very excited to share. Like one of the founder, so he is not even 10th class graduate. He was from Udaipur, went to Mumbai to do some jobs, ended up, working at a bank at a very low position. Then he got exposed to a lot of things, the idea of business, the idea of finance, went back to Udaipur to help his local community. He ended up working with these tribal women who used to pick up jamun. Jamun is a very arid fruit known in Rajasthan side. He sort of helped this tribal woman to find this B2B value chain where, to sales to the ice cream brands, etc. So instead of having a seasonal income of the tribal women, they ended up having 20 times more income now because of his business, and he is right now making a turnover of annual revenue of around 4 to 5 crores, right? So these are the kind of entrepreneurs we want to back because we can see them growing. Now he's expanding to sitafal and other fruits, right? This is one of the agriculture example I can give. So for there's a lot of financial inclusion startups and supply chain startups which we are looking into.
Well, it's always heartening to hear those stories, and I hope you continue to find more and more of these budding entrepreneurs to back. But, a quick word on the Suzuki Innovation Center that is also now going to be a part of Next Bharat Ventures as one of the verticals. How are you going to leverage the Suzuki brand and the resources to support these startups that you're backing?
No, I think Suzuki is all in, Ritu, on this. I mean, day before yesterday, the CEO of Suzuki Group from Japan had made a press release about the fund that, what we have done in India for 42 years is has been to create value for almost like the 0.4 billion people. Now it's time to really create value for the next billion. And hence we have started this fund, is the comment he gave day before yesterday. In fact, on the board of this fund, we have 4 people. One of them is the ex-CEO of Maruti Suzuki. Second is the the executive vice president of Suzuki Motor Corporation, and third is the board member of Suzuki. So these are the people who are sitting on our board very closely, helping us out to access all the ecosystem, not just of Suzuki in Japan or Maruti in India, but also of Suzuki Group around the world, in Africa, Southeast Asia, etc. More importantly, we are also partnering with a lot of our friends in India, right? We are also looking at strategic partner with some of the banks, some of the consultants who can help our portfolios, the social entrepreneurs who otherwise cannot afford to work with those people, right? Apart from that, I think Suzuki Innovation Center has been, in fact, when I was leading Suzuki Innovation Center 2 years back, the whole idea was to be a think tank, right? We worked with the people like Professor Anil Gupta, who had built the Gyan, worked with grassroots innovators. We learned a lot from that. Suzuki Innovation Center was started along with IIT Hyderabad. We do a lot of activities there, and which we will keep on doing. That is to bridge India and Japan strategically. But more importantly, now the approach is to have back this really amazing set of people, right? We're creating, as what Vijay Sekhar Sharma was telling earlier in the show, that the relevance is very important, and these people who are creating this value for the, let's say, the example like right? So it's amazing, yeah.
Yes, well, it absolutely is. And Vipul, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but so much more to ask you. Perhaps another time. And thank you so much for being here on the show.
Thank you.